The good news is you can do this. And I'm going to encourage you, whatever you've been through, my prayers are with you. My thoughts are with you.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rolla, clinical psychologist, and we are on episode 22 of my self-disclosure series about my life after divorce. The topic of today's video is the fight against manipulation and witchcraft. Before I continue with this video, please subscribe, press that notification bell so that you have immediate access to my videos. Also, please follow me on social media at Ask Dr. Rolla, AskDrRolla. If you want to know a little bit more about my marriage and just what led me to do this video, when I say my marriage, my divorce, how long I was married, all that stuff, I'm going to put a link for the first episode or second one. We'll figure out which one, but we're going to put a link in there for you to look at that. You can check out my other ones as well, but I'm going to dive right into this topic. I've had to think very deeply about this topic because it's such an important issue, and I was a little bit concerned about sharing it because people could kind of see it as spooky or weird, but the reality is it's not spooky. Whenever there's disagreement, intense conflict in families, in churches, in companies, wherever, there is this risk of manipulation, damaging people's reputations, playing games on people's minds, and it really always morphs into something really nasty. And because divorce is an adversarial process, this is an area that I realized early on that I need to battle with, and I need to battle with it head on. Some of you are still married and been married for years, but in your family, there's intense conflict and anger and division. You can also be going through this kind of processes. And if you do not battle manipulation, negativity, destroying people's reputation and character, maligning them, you will find the spirit of witchcraft operating in your family. And witchcraft is when somebody's mind is being played on. When people who should be caring or respectful towards each other have intense hatred towards each other because one or more of the people in that relationship connection is trying to make them look good. It's trying to look good at the expense of the other person. That means they will go to extreme means to destroy the person, exaggerate what they know about them, lie about them in such a way that will cause people who are innocent partners or other people involved to feel that the person is bad, even though they're not. When I mean bad, it's like to believe things about that person that are not true. I was very conscious of this when I was going through my divorce because I had also done multiple evaluations on child custody. And also in my work as a psychotherapist and a psychologist, I've seen this happen in families there's no divorce and families where there's divorce. So I was very, very watchful about this. But even though when I started, my divorce process started, I began to see this in its reality. This was close to home. I put out some notes just so I don't forget, because I'm going to try to get to the points very quickly so you can get what I'm trying to communicate with you. Evil has a way of growing. Anything that you feed will grow. If you feed evil and negativity, it will grow. It is possible to disagree with somebody. Evidently, my ex-husband and I were not on the same page. If we were on the same page, we will still be married. And actually, we were still married. We would have been married 30 years this year. We're not on the same page, so there was a divorce. But that does not mean that I should engage in manipulation, exaggerations of things that are true. You know, some things could be true, but you can exaggerate and add in details to make the other person look bad. Or allow anybody else to do that with me. My children now have to live in 2 homes. That means that if I'm not careful, I can use my power as a mother in a way that looks like witchcraft. As a mother, as a father, as a sister, as a brother, you have tremendous power to influence other family members. Make sure that you use that power in a way that is positive. If you don't, you might win in the short term, but you will lose in the long term. And I was acutely aware of that. And I thank God that I stood firm in that way. Because if you are in a situation where somebody or people related, I'm not talking about my ex-husband specifically, or people connected with our marriage are saying bad things, or even him is saying something bad about me, I can fall into the temptation of wanting to do that back, tit for tat. And using the power that I could use to heal, to grow, to set new goals and adapt to this new reality and make something amazing out of it, I can use that power in the wrong way. And I made up my mind I'm not going to do that. One of the scriptures that I love, that I hold on to very clearly, is that darkness can never overcome light. If I speak the truth, if I focus on what is healthy, if I watch what I say about the other person, make sure I'm not damaging them or saying things inappropriate or playing games with my children's mind, the truth about who I am and the good seed that I sow will yield good fruit that will benefit me, them, and all of us, including the person I'm divorced from, in the long term and short term. Even though in the moment, negativity may seem to be winning. You can be manipulative and be a witch in your operations by how you act, either subtly or overtly. A subtle way, for instance, with my situation, is to act sad or act needy when my children need to spend time with their dad or they're showing affection with their dad, to make them feel guilty that they don't love me enough, or say things like, you don't really love me. That is manipulative, and that is witchcraft. If I need to heal, which I obviously needed to do, my children don't become the people that carry my baggage. I need to get help where I need to get help from so that I can stay healthy. So that my children are allowed to be children and they're not feeling influenced by the behaviors or my gestures or my demeanor, and they don't feel bad about themselves. After all, they have a right to live happy and enjoy their relationship with each parent without feel intimidated or overwhelmed. When you are manipulative and you engage in witchcraft, you take away that other person's right to feel good about themselves, because you are imposing yourself in a way that is unhealthy. Mothers especially are very powerful individuals. I know my power in the life of my children, but I'm going to refuse, and I refuse to use my power as a mother in a way that is negative. When you are coming against manipulation, lying in the courts, or exaggeration information, you are going to be hurt. But that does not mean that you should not fight. You just want to fight the right way. Now, what are you going to fight for? You're going to fight for the truth, which is what I was determined to do, and I did. If something is true, I'm writing it. But be careful. It can be true, but is not needed, is not important to be known. In order to fight against manipulation, you must fight for the truth, which is state the truth, do not exaggerate. Another thing you must do is make sure it is on an as need to know basis. There's information out there that you have about people that is true, but it's not necessary. It is not important. It doesn't do anything to improve the situation. I'm going to encourage you to not share it, because if you share it, that can cause some real have a negative impact. And one thing you need to realize is that the devil and the evil that we're dealing with, whatever form it shows up, does not want to stop at one thing. It wants to morph into something bigger. I was going through a divorce. I knew that the devil wanted to bring about destroying the work I've done in my marriage, which is commitment, loyalty, fidelity. The enemy wants to make my children bitter and angry, which I believe that even though I was going through a divorce, that did not have to happen. And the enemy went to wipe out what I believe is what I want out of my life, a good legacy. When you are fighting people tit for tat and being manipulative and operating and playing on people's minds and damaging people's characters, that is what's going to happen. The legacy of that family is going to be damaged. Maybe if you're not careful permanently, that is something you cannot afford. So you must battle for the truth. As need to know basis, tell the truth, and limits the amount of sharing of information as needed. And what do you need to focus on to battle for the truth? Focus on structure. In my case, moving into 2 homes means we need a new structure. We need a new set of rules. We need a new set of understanding of how we're going to operate as a family. If you want to know what some of those rules are and how I establish that structure, leave a note in the comment and I will do another video about that. But I'm telling you, that structure was my focus. How do we stay on track? How do we focus on our emotional well-being as a family in 2 homes? How do we focus on our academics? How do we focus on keeping the good friendships they have with their friends in the community? How do I maintain a positive attitude as a mom towards them, where they see me happy, they see me positive, and when I'm frustrated, I handle that appropriately and I work with them? That is the battle you must fight. You really don't have time for tit for tat. It's going to take away from you. It's going to drain you. It's going to distract you. It's going to wear you out. It's going to make you feel so exhausted. Instead of focusing on moving forward, you're going to feel stuck where you are. And that's what the devil wants. And he lost that battle in my life. He never stopped me. And that's why I'm doing this video with you today, many years after. Because I battled for the truth. Can you battle for the truth? Can you speak in a way that you're not lying or maligning another person's character because they got a little win or they seem to be winning? Can you take care of your baggage and not dump it on your children? Can you not use your power as a parent in a way that is diabolical or negative? That is a question when you face trouble. And I'm telling you, it's easy to fall into that trap. You have to pull yourself back up quickly and get out of it. And if you've done it with others, with your family, apologize, because the negativity can really, really grow to a point where it can be difficult to correct. Do not be afraid of manipulation. People lying and saying inappropriate things about you if it's not true. Confront it with the truth. Because eventually, evil has a way of exposing himself. Evil doesn't need your help. The way you battle evil is by doing the right thing. So what did I focus my energy on? Birthing new dreams. Now that we're a family, a single parent home. Like I said, work on the structure. Start to find new relationships that are invested in helping this new family unit work. Not that the family unit is all broken down, but this is reality. This is a single parent household. What church am I going to attend? Who's going to help me take care when the kitchen sink falls apart? Who's going to be my financial consultant? Who is my mentor? In this time, I connected with several wonderful friends. We weren't even talking about my divorce. That wasn't the issue. We're just bonding. I didn't have time for this friendship when I was married. That's the battle for the truth. Connecting with people who appreciate me as a person. Not people that just are treating you differently now because now you don't have a ring anymore, so I can walk. No, I don't have time for those kind of people. I started to connect with those people. In my connection with those people, some of them started to say, Rolla, you need to go and have a radio show. We like the way you advise us about different things. And so when there was an announcement on my radio, KFIA 710 AM Sacramento, if you have a radio idea or a show idea, call this number. That's how I started the Balancing Your Life show in a Christian radio show. And we talked about psychology. People called in and we talked about psychology for 1 hour. That show ended when I moved to Georgia, to a different part of the country from California. But this is the bottom line. Something that was meant to wipe me out became an opportunity for me to grow. I know you're hurting. I hurt. But there are other healthy outlets to handle the pain. Don't join ranks with those people who don't like the person you are not married to. That's not the focus of your relationships now. Talking about it and getting overly excited. You might have a divorce paper and you might even still be married to them, but you're carrying them everywhere you go. You're giving power to somebody who doesn't want to be with you or doesn't treat you right. You're selling your soul by constantly talking about them all the time. Talking about them in a way that is not productive. You're not getting any help. You're just talking about them. Or being invested in finding out what they're doing. They don't want to be with you, let them move on. If information comes your way, fine, but don't get overly involved with that. You have enough work to do. Don't do the tit for tat. I believe that the misuse of your power into manipulation, using witchcraft, playing with children's minds, playing with the minds of others, spreading bad news, getting invested is misuse of your power. That minimizes your power in the place of prayer. Because darkness can never overcome light. So you want to be light. How can you be light when you're engaged in all that negativity? When you misuse your power, it causes you to have poor emotional health, mood swings. It's hard to set new goals. It's hard to adapt to your new reality. Your growth is stunted. It's hard to discover the potential and areas that you have not explored. And it takes the focus on battling for the right things. There's some details, obviously, I'm not going to share specifically, but honestly, there was all that temptation to dabble into games, parental alienation, saying things in front of the kids, sending messages. And people do this, sometimes not in overt ways, in subtle ways. It is your responsibility when you're hurt to make sure that you focus on what is the right way to heal. And put your energy into battling for what is right. Today, those young ladies are adults, have careers, pay their own bills, successful young women. Nobody's perfect, but we have taken something that could have crushed us and destroyed us and turned it around because we refuse to battle the wrong way. You must battle against manipulation and witchcraft by truth. And then one more thing before I go. When you refuse to battle the wrong way, you battle the right way by getting on your knees, fasting, praying, intercession, telling God, God, I'm not doing tit for tat. You know the truth about who I am. Vindicate me. Show up who I am. Give me strength to keep going on and doing the right thing in spite of the negativity coming my way. I hope you've enjoyed this. Please share it with as many people as possible. Not enjoy that I've gone through pain of divorce, but that you've enjoyed the lessons that I've learned from my divorce is why I'm doing this series. Share it with as many people as possible. Please subscribe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye now. Take care.